Yo, yo, yo! Welcome back to the MMA Short Show. As always, your boy, Steven Moustaris. And man, when it comes to this UFC 309 this weekend, the co-main event between Michael Chandler and Charles Oliveira, expected to be fireworks. I mean, we all watched the first fight. Absolutely insane. Madness all around for the 7 minutes it even lasted. But for this weekend, outside of how the fight's going to play out, who's going to win and how they're going to win, I wanted to go over my two biggest questions, leading into this fight or coming out of this fight on Saturday. And my first question I wanted to go over, and I think most of us are excited to see how it plays out, was waiting 2 years for the Conor McGregor sweepstakes ultimately worth it for this man, Michael Chandler? I mean, clearly he never got the fight. He wasted two of the, last precious years of his MMA career. I mean, he's 37 years old in a weight class at 155. It's pretty crazy to really see and watch what he's went through to not even get the fight. But clearly, if he goes out there and knocks out, Charles Oliveira this weekend or gets the job done in, an emphatic way, he's going to get on that mic and sit there and call Conor all the names, call him a coward, call him a pussy, say he was ducking him. You can say everything in the world about how he was really the one. And if Conor would have took the fight, he would have turned into be what Charles did. I would have knocked him out. Like, clearly, he would shut everybody up. All the media, every fan telling him, man, don't be waiting 2 years, 2.5 years, especially the ones that aren't naive enough to realize that Conor's never coming back. So, I mean, clearly he could shut everybody up, but if this man goes out there and gets beat by Charles Oliveira again, and say Charles puts on a really good fight and really good performance, and Michael Chandler doesn't look the best after such a long layoff, I mean, you already know Conor McGregor's going to be online laughing at him, telling him, oh, this is why I didn't take the fight. Ultimately, you could probably argue, Conor might even say it too, like, oh, look at me, I ruined your career. I'm over here counting my millions and damn near billions at this rate because of all my stuff I got going on. And you're over there trying to get a red panty night just for my fight, and I didn't even give it to you, and you waited 2 years just to go out there and get absolutely embarrassed by Charles Oliveira. So, I mean, there's a lot on the line at this rate, especially for somebody in Michael Chandler's, in his boots, where this man has been in the top 5, top 3, top 2. He's even fought for the belt there against Charles. So it's like he's been up there for so long since he's been in the UFC, and he's only got a couple more fights as it is, at least when we, look at averages and, guys at 155 that even last that long. So, there's a lot riding on the line here, and it almost feels like there's more pressure on this man, Michael Chandler, than there is Charles Oliveira at all. So I'm really looking forward to see which side of the coin this lands on, and to see if Michael Chandler's getting the last laugh, or if we're all going to be sitting there just, kind of looking at him as the laughing stock of the entire UFC, waiting for a fight you never got with, with a clown that nobody thinks is ever going to come back, and then you took yourself out. You could have been knocking anybody out. You could have been the one knocking out Gaethje instead of Max Holloway. You could have been the one out there fighting, Islam or Dustin Poirier or whoever. I know he's already fought a couple of these guys, but when you're up there so high in the top 5, top 6, like, you're going to probably be fighting rematches like he is with Charles. So leads me into question number 2. And don't get me wrong, if you guys are asking me, I'm definitely leaning Charles Oliveira in this fight. I just think he has more tools. I think he's shown himself in the last few years that he has more to prove at the top or he has more that he has proven at the top of the heap. But question number 2, man, and you have to be honest here, and especially Charles Oliveira fans, I know this is upsetting, but regardless of who wins, it seems like it's going to be the number 1 contenders match after Arman Tsarukyan. And you can even make the argument if Arman gets hurt or something, Charles could jump right in there because I thought he beat Arman. But do either of these guys beat Islam? And, before I even get into the question, or the answer and everything, don't get me wrong. There is a possibility that Arman Tsarukyan goes out there and beats Islam. And this question is just out there just being dumb. Because at that rate, we already know that Charles could hang with Arman easily. If it was a 5-round fight, he probably was going to win that one. And if you look at Michael Chandler, he can knock out anybody in the first round. So I'm not sitting there saying they don't have a chance to beat him, but let's look at the Islam fight, man. Islam and Charles, we already kind of seen how that plays out. The biggest argument for everybody when you're a Charles fan is, oh, his submission skill, his ground skills, his grappling skills are enough to scare Islam. And Islam went out there and choked him out with the arm triangle if I don't remember correctly, or if I remember correctly. So, when it comes just down to it, and Michael Chandler, every time that we've witnessed this guy get in there with the top of the heap and Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier and everybody and Charles, he's always falling short. And, when he fights the guys like Dan Hooker and an older Tony Ferguson and whatnot, yeah, he looks phenomenal. But I don't think, There's an argument out there. Michael Chandler has so many skills in his MMA game, but I think it's one of the most frustrating things to watch of him, even though he is fan friendly. The amount of skill that he has, he just throws it out the window. Him and Gaethje almost have the same problem. They just go into these fights and just throw every game plan, everything out the window just to make it a barn burner, and it always bites Michael Chandler in the ass. So I'm kind of just questioning, I'm happy that this fight's happening and I'm excited for it, but I just don't know if either of these guys can even threaten Islam for the belt. And it almost makes me wonder why this would be a number one contenders match. So, you never know. At the end of the day, this could not be a number one contenders match. They could give it to Arman, say Islam wins, or even if Arman wins, one of these guys could easily beat Arman, I'm guessing. But when it comes to Islam, if he beats Arman, I could see him going up to 170, and this fight doesn't even matter. And maybe whoever wins between this fights for an interim title or something. So it could ultimately matter. But if Islam's going to be there still, I just have a hard time seeing what's the point of these guys getting the title fight. So, as always, your boy, Steven Moustaris, these were my two biggest questions for this fight. You guys let me know what you guys think. And, when it comes to the Jon Jones-Stipe fight, if you guys want to check out my three biggest questions for that one, please go ahead and check that one out. So, as always, your boy, Steven Moustaris. And let's go, baby. Let's go.